Another road accident in the Mungo division of the littoral region of Cameroon. A 70-seater interurban transport bus got into an accident involving 15 persons who are severely wounded. In this edition of the news, we shall be staying on the national road to talk about a video going viral on social media where a custom official is seen humiliated by individuals said to be members of Sickle, that is the Sécurité Militaire Unarmed of the Cameroonian Army. Also in this edition of the news, we shall be looking at the lives of musicians in Cameroon. Remember, today is being commemorated as the World Music Day, and artists in Cameroon, musical artists, Silva, have been abandoned by the government. But most people across the economic capital city think that the artists, though most of them doing fine in their career, lack managerial skills, they enjoy well, and in their last days, most of them go begging. It's just what we're going to be discovering in this edition of the news. A little biography of the man, the new bâtonnier in Cameroon, will be part of this edition of the news. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for choosing to get connected to the primetime newscast on Equinoxe. We live from Douala, Cameroon's economic capital city, Equinoxe Central News Desk. We begin on the national road in Cameroon, that's in the south region of Cameroon, precisely in Ambam. On this video, an amateur video that has gone viral on social media in Cameroon, a video that shows a Cameroonian custom officer who is said to have been humiliated, as seen on your screens, humiliated by some officials of the military security, officially known as Sickle, Sécurité Militaire in Ambam, that's in the south region of Cameroon. The scene was captured in an amateur video going viral on social media in Cameroon. One could see the mobile telephone of the custom officials seized and destroyed by the angry individuals, the individuals who also threatened to beat the custom officials or to have them well beaten. It should be recalled that the officials were angry after a decision from the custom officials to control their vehicle. We shall be coming back to it, but remember that the video has been going viral on social media in Cameroon. I will stay on the road to talk about an accident this time around in the city of Douala at a place known as Carrefour Ajib. Carrefour Ajib, one of the main neighborhoods linking Aqua to Vindokoti neighborhood in the Douala Free municipality. And as a result of the very bad state of the roads, a heavy-duty vehicle, a truck transporting goods, fell off along the road, blocking circulation for several hours. Individuals say that it was a morning and of course a day without traffic, which is common on that stretch of the road, and if this was on a traffic congestion day, lives would have actually been lost or persons wounded in that incident. But they have blamed it on the very poor state of the road that links Carrefour Ajib to Mpopi, one of the largest markets in Douala, as well as Ndokoti, one of the largest neighborhood with the largest roundabout in Cameroon and the Central African sub-region. The accident is as a result of the bad state of the road. The vehicle that fell off tumbled up and fell, releasing its content on the main stretch of the roads, blocking circulation for several hours. Carrefour Ajib in the city of Douala. Carrefour Ajib, and I will stay on the national road to talk about a road accident involving several persons. A 70-seater bus, rather a 19-seater bus in the Mungo division of the littoral region. The accident left several persons wounded. 15 were counted to have been severely wounded on the scene of the accident. We have details with Lucy in the following report, who says that 15 persons got severely wounded in the course of the incident. And of course, we shall be coming back to the report compiled by Lucy involving the said road accident that saw several persons wounded That's in the Mungo division of the Littoral region. Time for us to talk something else. Just how do people in local communities in Cameroon respond to the problem of sickle cell, and just how effective have they been responding to calls from experts that it is necessary for them to go do necessary tests as before getting into marriage is a question that has been asked and is becoming preoccupying to several Cameroonians, especially in the far north region of Cameroon, with a devastating impact of sickle cell anemia on parents who fail to go through this exercise. We have details with Immaculate Fogwe.
Pain from the sickle cell disease is so intense that little Yasmin Usmanu is unable to walk well. With the aid of hands, the teenager struggles to move towards her mat. Yasmin's elder brother and younger sister are equally not spared from the disease. The three had to drop out of school because of the crisis they experience regularly. The parents of these kids go through hard times as they watch their kids anguish.
Nous traversons des moments difficiles.
It is not easy taking care of these children. Their drugs are very expensive. A major problem we are facing is having a pack of blood which costs 25 to 30,000 francs CFA. I sell onions at the Mara market where I make 1,500 francs to 2,000 francs. Sometimes I'm even unable to sell anything. My children have dropped out of school because of their condition.
Les enfants ne partent plus à l'école. Nous demandons à l'État de nous aider en réduisant.
According to statistics, Cameroon registers about 4,000 sickle cell related deaths, with half of the victims dying before the age of 5. Victims suffering with the incurable genetic disease in the city of Marwa stormed the streets to appeal that the state reduces the cost of medications in order to save their lives. We suffer a lot. HIV and AIDS patients are treated freely, and many other diseases, but those with sickle cell are not assisted in any way. Whenever my child is in pain, I am equally affected. We are sometimes unable to afford for their medications. On the occasion of World Sickle Cell Day, these victims urged the population of Marwa to carry out electrophoresis tests before having babies with their partners in order to avoid such predicaments. The Sickle Cell Association in Marwa are equally calling on persons of goodwill alongside the government to support them.
That was Immaculate Fogwe reporting on the move of sickle cell patients in Marwa, that's in the far north region of Cameroon, who went to the streets of Marwa to decry government's non-compliance in subsidizing the prices of medications along other basic medical requirements needed for their very survival. According to the parents of the victims, their salaries, menial salaries, they insisted, have not been able to help them take care of their children. As you saw in that report, some of the parents who've been going through severe challenges in the far north regional chieftain Marwa, getting to take care of their children affected by sickle cell. Now we talk something else to say that community radios have failed in their responsibility to articulate issues of communities, according to Cheo Melanie, a PhD student of the University of Buea, that's in the southwest region. Olive Ejang, on her part, begged on policy makers and stakeholders in Cameroon for better media laws that can help media professionals at a time when she thinks that social media is adversely affecting media professionals in Cameroon. They were all speaking as they defended their PhD thesis at the University of Buea. Derek Jatu is the man of that story. And of course, we're talking about
as Bukwa in Boya, a village of plus 10,000 people struggles to push for development. The people here say they are being pulled back by a lot of problems. For instance, there is no single tap here in a village like this one, found on the foot of the water plenty Mount Cameroon.
We not get no tapo this time.
This village has been affected by the armed conflict too, in its own way. But no one has ever heard the story of this community.
No. Yeah, and first time for journalists to come for you. Can ask me question.
No. I've never seen it. This is my first time.
And such a situation is familiar here in Fako Division. It is against this backdrop that Chewu Melanie, from the Faculty of Social and Management Sciences, Department of Sociology and Anthropology here in the University of Boya, titled her PhD thesis on assessing the role of community radio in the local participatory development in Fako Division, during which she discovered that community radios have failed in their own communities.
For example, I did my study in the Fako division. And when we look at the division, most of the community radios are urban centered. This social role is neglected most of the time, and many rural communities continue to remain in abject poverty. Recommendation is that
and in her recommendations, call on the government to take action.
Objective, which is to invest.
And as the world goes digital, the effect of social media on journalism skills in Cameroon is destroying the canons of the profession, according to the research results of Olive Ejang.
There is a lot of fake news on the social media, there is a lot of mediocrity, and now we are proposing to journalists that they should not only limit themselves to social media reporting.
Standing before the jury for her PhD thesis titled Assessing the Effect of Social Media Capital on Journalism Skills and Performance in Cameroon, proves that the syndrome of always fighting to tell the story first among journalists in Cameroon is crumbling the profession. This PhD holder from the University of Boya, in her recommendations, call on policymakers to use this piece of information to better media laws in the country.
And as locals in different communities in Cameroon call on media personnel to get involved in the challenges they face, and also on stakeholders and lawmakers to make laws that will favor the broadcast of the challenges of local communities, artists in Cameroon too are crying for the governments to give them more consideration and a listening eye, and also to consider taking care of them. The artists express their concerns as the war, Cameroon joins the war to commemorate the War Music Day. Anna Bila in the following report takes us to the life of artists in Cameroon, their challenges and expectations. And of course, we shall be coming back to that report subsequently. Now we talk something else. It is now official. It is now known to everybody who the 14th Bâtonnier of Cameroon is. The president of the Cameroon Bar Council, Bâtonnier Mba is however expected to do what his predecessor could not do. For example, completing the AMAX project, that of constructing the secretariat of the Bâtonniers in Cameroon. Several other expectations have been tabled by lawyers in Cameroon. In the city of Douala, we took our microphone to Barrister Kamwa, legal practitioner in the city of Douala. He spelled out his expectations and that of his very close colleagues from the new Bâtonnier. Take a listen to him. He was interviewed by Innocent Azet.
And we finally voted the president of the General Assembly and the vice, and the president of the Cameroon Bar Council, who is the Bâtonnier Mba, who was massively voted into the office. And we trust him. So we are happy that even though it took so much time, but at the end of it, at least we achieved the purpose for which we went to Yaoundé. Well, to the best of my knowledge, Cameroon Bar was not sinking. We could have some problems like in any other profession, but we're not sinking. But coming back to your question, yes, he is good enough to represent us, to defend our corporation and deliver the things he promised during his campaign. I personally know him, and I think we did the right thing to vote him into the office to represent us. Is it strange? It's not strange that people can express that desire. The most important thing is that there's unity at the bar. that the Francophones massively voted for Barisamba Eric. Don't be surprised that the Francophones voted him more, which does not mean that the Anglophones don't support him. No, because we have three candidates, Anglophone candidates. So the Francophones, if you look at the landslide victory he had, you should know that he was massively voted. You see, so it is normal to have those persons who want to aspire right into higher positions, but at the end of the day, we voted for him and the bar is united.
Barrister Kamwa Liman also indicated that the election, the 3-day elected General Assembly, but also the election of the Bar Council President, but also the President of the General Assembly of the Bar in Cameroon, went unhitch-free. He believes that Batoni Mba-Evre is the right man, so to say that the square peg in the square hole. We have details in this reaction of his. Once again, he was talking to Innocent Asa.
Words. Well, as I said, I know him as a man of his words, and he made some promises during the campaigns, which he's going to fulfill. That I believe, I trust him on that. And one of the things he promised was the having of immatriculation for all lawyers. So if you are a lawyer, you have a matricule number that you can be identified with. That will prevent the profession from being infested by people who are not lawyers. You see, so that is a very good initiative. He talked about our emoluments. You know, the lawyers are the only persons in the legal profession who are not being paid, whereas there's a law that provides so. If you look, the magistrates, they have the emoluments, the bailiff, they have the emoluments, and we remain the only persons who don't receive money, whereas we bring in a lot of money to the courts. He's a goal-getter. That is just him. That is just him. I'm privileged to be close to Eric for the past 30 years, close to him, and that is him. And he's going to do what he promised. And we too, we are willing to work with him. He's serving us, and we are willing to give him what it takes for him to succeed. This is a time that anybody who did not vote for him or did not want him to be a bâtonnier, has agreed that he has been voted in as a bâtonnier, and he now represents the aspirations of all lawyers. And that's democracy. Some people might not initially vote for you, but once you become the head, the president, you work for the interests of every other lawyer. And I think by his natural being, that is who he is. He's going to deliver. I know him.
Barrister Kamwa Lima is a member of the Cameroon Bar Association, and he witnessed the 3-day elective exercise or election exercise in Yaoundé, the heart of the country Cameroon. He thinks that the newly elected bâtonnier is the square peg in a square hole, the right man for the job. He believes so well that he will fulfill his promises made, and everyone must work together with him. We, in the course of this newscast, will be coming back to a profile, a little biography of the man, the bâtonnier, the barrister Mba-Evre. But time for us to talk the plight of artists in Cameroon. Announced earlier that it is being commemorated as the World Music Day, and in the city of Douala, Annabella took interest on just what the plight of musicians are and how they've been faring, what are the expectations from the Cameroonian people and also the government, even as they say or they think that they've been abandoned by the government of Cameroon. But how is the question Annabella tries to answer in this report.
Uphill task nowadays for artists in Cameroon, especially those of the old school, to benefit from their artistic know-how. Most artists who thrilled stores in the 80s and 90s say the situation of musicians in the country leaves much to be desired, as they complain to have been abandoned to themselves.
My dear sister, the situation of artists from Cameroon is very bad, very poor, very sad. So,
why?
Because we are not together. If the artists are not together, nothing cannot go ahead. Nothing.
Ça va dans tous les sens. On me dit qu'au niveau de la culture, au niveau des ministères de la culture, on doit s'arrêter pour faire le bilan.
Today is going into every direction on social media. We had elders like Manu Dibango, Chana Pierre, etc., and we never had insult. At the level of the Ministry of Culture, we must halt everything and do a balance sheet of the music industry in Cameroon. For now, it's total catastrophe.
Pour nous, c'est une catastrophe.
Having understood that depending solely on music in our Cameroonian context is an error, some other artists like Jore and Anianswe now have their plan B.
Mais cette musique, je me trouve moi ici pour essayer de joindre les deux bouts.
Et que bon, j'avais fait une formation d'hôtellerie quand j'étais en France.
You see, I have my restaurant because I know I couldn't depend solely on music. Even when I was out of the country, I was in France, I tried to take care of my children. I had to send my children to school. There are even other children that I took care of, and today they are taking care of me. So we should have good hearts to take care of others, because in bad days, nobody knows. In bad days, there should be other people to also take care of us.
Il y a des enfants qui restent comme ça et qui disent que maman ni en souhait, tu ne peux pas souffrir.
J'ai connu des artistes ici dans ce pays qui ont eu un gros succès, mais qui n'ont pas su profiter de ce succès pour préparer l'avenir.
I know artists in this country who had great success and didn't prepare for the future. Success is usually synonymous to money when it comes to music. So when you're lucky to be successful, make use of it. Meanwhile, youths, their situation is different. They have the advantage because they can save now and also get into business. Those of the old school, though they appreciate what the younger generation is doing, they still call on them to come closer to elders in the industry for better orientation.
Le folklore, maintenant, il y a une génération de jeunes qui ne jouent qu'avec la musique, comme je prends le cas de Samalis, des jeunes de l'Ouest qui ne jouent que là. Et puis aujourd'hui, il y a une autre génération sur notre zone anglophone qui joue leur tradition.
There is a generation of youths in the West region and the Anglophone regions too who sing to promote their culture and tradition. It is an advantage to our cultural riches. That is why I think we should halt and give a table for artists to discuss their problems.
Il y a certains jeunes qui viennent vers moi. Je prends le cas de Dynastie Le Tigre pour sortir son premier album.
As artists in Cameroon celebrate the World Music Day, the musicians had a thought on some of their colleagues who have passed on, sometimes in total misery.
Cette fête de musique arrive avec une très mauvaise nouvelle pour la mort de Kembe Pesson, le créateur de Rumta. Il est décédé ce matin. Et Maureen Djoumé, il y a quelques jours, aussi est décédé.
Like Samfan Thomas says, everything concerning music in Cameroon must be halted so the music industry could be positively revamped.
That starts right. Unfortunately, we're going to be taking you to a sad page. We've had several persons have been wounded in a road accident that's in the Mongo division of the littoral region of Cameroon, precisely in Pendamboko. The persons got wounded in an accident involving a 19-seater bus. Our reporter on that story is Lucy Liengo.
It was in the early hours of the morning when a lorry on high speed leaving from Douala to Konsamba tried overtaking another lorry but collided with a 90-seater bus that left from Konsamba. About 15 persons of the bus were injured and not dead.
Le chauffeur roulait devant là, il y avait un camion qui cherchait à doubler son frère. Il a cherché à esquiver le camion subitement.
A lorry, I'm coming from Jombe to Douala, a lorry tried overtaking another lorry. Our driver tried escaping, but unfortunately, we found ourselves in a valley. There were no major casualties, just persons who got wounds, fractures on the hands and the waist.
Oui, comme moi là, et la côte du monsieur là qui est couché au sol là, qui pleure, c'est rien qui s'est cassé.
Immediately after the incident, the driver fled, but unfortunately for him, he was caught at the Bangato gate by locals.
C'était le chauffeur du véhicule, du car.
The bus driver from Konsamba. I was driving slowly when I saw a lorry overtaking with speed at the Benin corner. I tried stopping him together with some other colleagues, but he was on high speed. Fortunately for me, I was not on high speed, so I could escape and save life. but immediately the driver of the lorry ran away. The injured persons were taken to the local health center of Banga, while the driver was taken away by the forces of law and order.
And as promised, we shall, with Glory Mala, our reporter and a lady, be taking you to the man, the new Batonian Cameroon. Remember, he was elected at the end of a free-day elective General Assembly of the Cameroon Bar Association that began on Saturday and ended yesterday, Monday, with the election of the Cameroon Bar Council President and the General Assembly of the Bar President, and it went on hitch-free, according to our lawyers who witnessed the elective exercise in Yaoundé. It came out yesterday with the shocking announcements of the victory of Barrister Mba Evry, getting over 1,000 votes, and of course with his immediate challenger coming with just about 900. But who is this man, Barrister Mba Evry, is the question Glory Mala tries to answer in the following report. Unfortunately, we're not going to be having that report in the course of this newscast, promising to be back to it subsequently. Time for us to take you to information out of Cameroon to say that at least 3 Christians have been killed in 2 different church attacks in the neighboring Federal Republic of Nigeria. Some were shot and killed in a Catholic church, while others were killed in a Baptist church. That was in the Ibadan, or rather the state of Kaduna. It should be recalled that it is coming after several other attacks on Christians and churches in the neighboring country, Nigeria. Some have linked it to the activities of terrorist groups operating in the northeastern and northwestern states of Nigeria, referring to Boko Haram, while others think that it is just a way to demonstrate the dichotomy in the largest country on the African continent. We have details with Immaculate Fogwe.
The bandits stormed villages in Kajura area of Kaduna State on motorcycles. 3 Christians of the Maratana Baptist Church and St. Moses Catholic Church were murdered and 2 persons injured. An unspecified number of persons were also kidnapped, shops looted, with several houses destroyed. The police are yet to confirm those behind the attack. This attack comes 2 weeks after 30 worshippers were killed in the town of Owo in Ondo State, Nigeria. In the northern part of Mali, precisely in Kidal, near the city of Gao, 20 civilians and a peacekeeper were killed by armed criminals. The deteriorating security situation has been strongly condemned by the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. The jihadist-led movement are suspected of having orchestrated the attack. Meantime, the head of the junta in Guinea, Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya, dismisses one of his soldiers, Lieutenant Colonel Ibrahim Keita, who was serving as a senior divisional officer of Singiri, after a video of him cutting the hair of 2 candidates writing the baccalaureate examination went viral on social media. Several calls were made for his dismissal. The now former senior divisional officer justifies himself by evoking the fact that it is for the good of the children who will become ministers and executives in future.
And that's where we end the 6 p.m. the primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you for your keen attention. Stay in the company of interesting programs on Equinoxe. Shortly after this, we shall be having Equinoxe Soir. Information continues on their #1 television channel. At 8 p.m, you will be having a full newscast in the French language, and the first edition of the news, a bilingual edition, will be coming up tomorrow at 7 a.m. with that reports from the most populous country on the African continent. Brings us to the end of this edition. Thanks for watching.